Good morning. I've been using this coffee cup this morning, Snoopy Woodstock, and on the other side it says, "At times life is pure joy." And when we get to this part of the story where Luke is recording the events on the island of Malta, this is one of those days that people marked on their calendar. From this day on, they were going to celebrate this day every year. When the day comes back, they're going to remember what happened on this day. You might recall that the Apostle Paul went to the father of Publius. Father was ill and had been ill, gravely ill, for quite a while, apparently. Paul prayed, laid his hands on him, and healed him. And that's the backstory to the verse today, where we read, after this happened, the rest of the people on the island who had diseases were coming to him and getting cured. Reminds me of when the gospel writers, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, recorded when Jesus healed them all. People were flocking to him and he healed them all. Earlier in the account that Luke has recorded, people would bring their loved ones out into the streets so that the shadow of Paul would fall on them, and they were all healed. And I'm thinking, these people on the island of Malta who had diseases were coming and he was healing them. When Jesus healed them all, thinking, some of those people had sinned. Why they were suffering these physical consequences, and he healed them all. What a sweet statement of the grace and kindness, the mercy of God displayed in the lives of these people who were suffering. Sometimes they're suffering because someone else sinned, or sometimes they're suffering just because we live in a broken world. And life, the enemy of God and of humanity, is trying to make their life miserable. Sometimes it's our fault. Sometimes it's the devil himself. Sometimes it's someone else. Sometimes it's just the fact that we live in a broken world. People are suffering. And now on the island of Malta, all those that suffered diseases came to him, and Paul healed them all. It's not because Paul was great, and he would be the first one to tell you this has nothing to do with Paul. It has everything to do with Jesus and the power of his Holy Spirit. Grace, the kindness of God that was demonstrated through these events, certainly would have changed the calendar of those families. If I were suffering from a disease and came to Paul and he healed me, that would be a day to celebrate. It would be a day to remember. He would be a man to listen to. I would want to hear what he has to say. Where did you get this kind of ability? How is it that you're able to heal all these diseases, different kinds, different reasons, different backgrounds, and all these different stories? How can you heal all these diseases? You healed the father of Publius from dysentery and recurring fevers. You healed all these other people. What do you have to say? And I would be ready to listen. So today, let's allow the grace of God that has flowed into and upon our own lives overflow into the lives of the people around us. We, as Christ followers, ought to be the most joyful, the most kind, the most patient, loving, peaceful. We ought to be all these things because there's more where that came from. We will not exhaust the grace of God by giving it too freely to someone else. We will never run out of his resources. Share with other people kindness, forgiveness, grace, and mercy. Let's be that kind of a person in our own home first, in our neighborhood, in our workplace, everywhere we go. Let's be the hands and feet of the most graceful man that ever walked. Let's be like Jesus. Let's be like Paul, generous and kind with what we are able to do for other people. We may not be able to heal their diseases, but we can walk with them through it. We can pray for them, and God may indeed heal their disease. He may be accomplishing something else. But either way, we ought to be the conduit of the grace and the mercy of God. God bless you. He loves you. We love you.